So in Matthew chapter 10, the third thing that we see here, which I believe is very important to apostles, is the whole avenue or the whole area of miracle, signs, and wonders. It says that miracle, signs, and wonders are to follow apostles. He says here, heal the sick, verse 8, cleanse lepers, raise the dead, cast out demons. You have freely received, now freely give. Now, one of the problems that we face is this. Some try to tell us that these things are not happening today simply because God is more interested in giving revelation. He wants more clarity of the word. Yes, that is true. But that doesn't exempt us from desiring this. That doesn't exempt us from flowing and functioning in this. Are people still sick around us? Yes, they are. Are people dying around us? Yes, they're still dying around us. Are people still demon-possessed? Yes, they are. So it means to say that apostles today, if you're not flowing in miracle signs and wonders, you must desire it. You must begin to press the deal. And the problem is not God. The problem is us. Right. It's not God. So number 3 is miracle signs and wonders must accompany apostles. 4. Verses 9 to 10, he told them, he says, do not provide gold, nor silver, nor copper in your purses, nor a bag for the journey, nor 2 coats, nor sandals, nor staves, for the workman is worthy of his food. Number 4, and we could spend an entire day talking about this because of what we see happening with some who call themselves apostles today. It is clear. When God gives vision, Rachel, he makes provision. Right. So he's saying, if I send you out to do a task, you don't worry about that. Go do it. I will deal with the provision aspect of stuff. Okay, so all this stuff that we see in the church today with apostles like uplines in a multi-level marketing business where everybody have to pay up to this apostle is just rubbish. It is nonsense. It is crazy. Jesus never told his early apostles to function like that. Right. He said, you go into a city, you find the Son of Peace, you labor there, provision will be made for you. Don't worry about provision. So number 4 is that whenever God gives vision, provision is made. Yes. Number 5, verses 11 to 13, very important again. He says, into whatever city or village you enter, inquire within it who is worthy. So the apostolic is committed to that which is worthy. That is why one of the things that I firmly believe, Rachel, is that as we build and as we work for the kingdom and as we work for God, relationship is key. You have to build relational. Because the idea here is that you go into a territory, you go into a nation, you go into a city, you look for a relationship. And the relationship you're looking for is whoever is worthy in that city. And what would you define that as? What is worthy? Somebody who is upstanding, somebody who is honest, somebody who loves God, somebody who has a pure heart. Right. And obviously, inquiry has to be made. You don't just find a person, like, okay, I just walk into the city and that person will appear. You've got to inquire. Do you do that ahead of time? If you're going into a city yourself, do you ask or do you kind of... Okay, so it would seem to suggest here that, remember, you're dealing with a territory that they were accustomed to, a region that they were accustomed to. So their journey wasn't to say like a foreign nation. Okay. I guess at our time today, if we're going into a foreign nation, some kind of relationship there has must to be a connection, right? A connection must have first been made. Exactly. And of course, in determining that connection, you're looking for someone who's worthy. Right. You're not just going in like a business, anybody. No, you're looking for somebody who is worthy. You're looking for a house from where you can function. Right. And in this context, house means local church. You're looking for a local church that you can have a relationship with. You're not going scattering yourself all over. From that local church, you work that territory and you work that region. Okay, so number 5, the apostolic is committed to that which is worthy. Number 6, the Lord promises that any refusal of the apostles' kingdom message will end in disaster. Not the apostles' pet doctrine, not his church, not his bias, not his preference. The kingdom message has to be the message of the kingdom. When you're dealing with the kingdom, it's a totally different ballgame. You know, one of the things that we have fun with, and we laugh at all the time, is like, for example, and I understand this very, very good, Rachel, because we have come into Canada from another nation. Now, here it is, we come from the Caribbean, and we are in North America, we're in Canada. One of the things that we have to understand, God didn't send us here to build a Caribbean church.
No, he didn't.
He sent us to build a kingdom facility. And one of the things that I have had to learn to deal with over time is to give up some of my Caribbeanness.
Yes.
If not, then we'll be in problems. So we go to other nations, and when we go to some other nations, you find immigrants coming into that nation. And you readily see it because you can go into, let's say, a place like England, and you meet a lot of Africans. And you go to a church in England, and they try to Africanize that territory, it don't work.
Right.
It looks funny. It looks weird. It looks strange because Jesus never operated that way. So we have to understand that what we call to preach is the kingdom and not our peculiar territories.
Right.
So I can't go out now as a Canadian, and I've been Canadianized somewhat. I can't go and bring Canada where I go. I have to bring the kingdom.
Which shows that you have to be aware of where your biases are and those peculiarities, as you're saying, right?
Yes. And we must be willing to adapt and to shift and to change. If not, then we're going to be in problem. Because only the refusal of the apostles' kingdom message. But that's what he told them. Whoever shall not receive you nor hear your words. The understanding there, when he says your words, it doesn't mean
your words.
No, it means the words of him who sent
because
me.
you're sent. Right.
When you depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. Truly I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So one of the things that we established in this session is that it is relevant and it's important for apostles to preach the kingdom. The kingdom. When Jesus came as the apostle of God, he preached kingdom. Kingdom. John the Baptist. Kingdom. 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 That's what we need to preach it. Rachel, the seventh thing we see here in Matthew chapter 10 is that the Lord promised apostles divine wisdom. If you're called to be an apostle, the Lord will release divine wisdom to you. It says here in verse 16, he says, behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. And, you know, one of the things that we have to understand with apostles, yes, we need wisdom, but we've got to be careful because a lot of times I've seen it happen where apostles use their wisdom to manipulate people and control people. And so Jesus is saying this, get wisdom, be wise as serpents, but be harmless as doves. Why would he say that? Because obviously there is a possibility for you to be wise and become like a serpent.
Right.
So he's saying, listen, get your wisdom, yes, but don't use the wisdom to manipulate and control and shrewd and tear people up. No, be harmless as doves. Amen? Because he who controls wisdom, I mean, come on. That guy has a certain amount of authority and power. Okay, so to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So divine wisdom is something that all apostles need to tap into and flow into. Number 8. In verses 17 to 18, we didn't read that, but verses 17 to 18 and verses 21 to 23 of Matthew chapter 10, the Lord warns them about persecution. He showed that it cannot be avoided. And so one of the other things that apostles, they draw or they attract is persecution because of their kingdom message, because of their righteous stand, because of the way they function. They don't cut corners. They just right up straight. They will attract persecution. So he's telling them to be aware of that, know that this is going to happen. In this day and age in which we live, where most of, I'm not saying all apostles, but a lot of apostles, they love the high life, they love the limelight, they love the niceties of life. Persecution, they do not want it.
Right.
But Jesus is saying here, if you're called to be an apostle, one of the things that you're going to draw is persecution. As a matter of fact, in verse 22, he sums it up so strong. He says, and you will be hated of all men for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end shall be kept safe. Number 9, in that same passage, like I said before, Matthew chapter 10, the whole of Matthew 10 from verses 1 to 42. But in this session, Rachel read from verses 1 to 15. But in verses 19 to 20 and 26 to 27, let me quickly read that for you. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak. For it shall be given you in the same hour what you shall speak. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you. Verse 26, therefore, do not fear them. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and nothing hidden which shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, speak in the light, and what you hear, proclaim on the housetop. So number 9, I believe that all apostles must flow in divine revelation. That is part of the gift of an apostle. You can't be an apostle and don't get divine revelation. So he says, listen, now, what I tell you in secret, that is divine revelation. That is what you're going to release from the housetop. So it's very important that apostles know that they can access divine revelation. Number 10, verses 24 to 25. It says this, it says, a disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he's like his master and the servant like his Lord. So point number 10 that I want to bring to you is apostles identify with their source. Apostles identify with their source. Their source is not their church. Their source is not their bank account. Their source is not their family ties. Their source is the one who sent them. And so one of the things that apostles need to understand is that they must have a connection above. If you're not connected above, if you don't understand, at the end of the day, Jesus is the one who sent you, you will always be in problems.
Yes.
So apostles need to be able to identify with their source. And if you identify with your source, it means that you don't lose heart. You don't become discouraged.
Right.
You don't despair when things begin to go wrong. Because you know that if they call the master of the house Beelzebub, they will call you the same.
Right.
Okay, so that's important.